Quest fans, Robin here, and I'm just going to run through another deck for you. This week, Pete and I are going to be bringing our own warbands that we haven't told each other in advance what they are. So it's a bit of a secret, and we're going to be playing it as a best of 3, which those of you on Patreon will be able to watch the subsequent games after the first one. So if you were interested in seeing that, do pop along to our Patreon. There'll be a link in the description below, and we have fun over there, so do come and join us if you would like to. Anyway, I'm going to quickly run through this deck for you. It's a Fire Slayers deck. I play Fire Slayers a lot. I really struggled in the last couple of games to fully utilise them. And so I've gone for a change in tack. Now, I went on record somewhere in those videos as saying that I don't think that Fire Slayers should play hold objectives particularly. So I thought I'd put my money where my mouth is, or the opposite of that. In fact, the opposite of putting my money where my mouth is, and see whether I was wrong. And so I've actually gone for a full-out objective-based deck for the Fire Slayers. So let's see how we go. So for my objectives, I've gone for 2, 3, 5, Alone in the Darkness. I know lots of people poo-poo this objective, but I rather like it. So I don't always score it, but I have scored it more often than I haven't. And it's 2 glory, and I just like it. If you're running short of luck, then Alone in the Darkness can sometimes give you a unexpected couple of glory. 254 Determined Defender, because I'm going to be going for objectives. I'm hoping to just sit one or maybe 2 people on an objective and hope they don't get moved. So that's Determined Defender. 257 Escalation, everybody's favourite objective. 263 Hold Objective 1. 264 Hold Objective 2. 265 Hold Objective 3. Yes, okay, you get the picture. Hold Objective 4 and Hold Objective 5. I've got to have those in there. It's going to be interesting to see. P made the point that if you're going for objectives, why not have the objective cards in your deck? Well, let's see whether that works out for me. 272 Master of War. Master of War is quite a handy card to have, relatively easy to score, so that's in there. One of the new cards, 278, Our Only Way Out. Our Only Way Out is like mini supremacy. Scores 2 glory, not quite as good as supremacy, but worth having in there on the off chance that I get it. 282 is Ploymaster, and 292 is supremacy. So that is my objective focused deck for the Fire Slayers. Then for ploys, Pete and I are trying out some of the new cards this week. The first couple aren't new cards, they're dwarf ones, or Fire Slayer ones. So there's 132, the Earth Shakes, good for moving people about on either team. 133, Treasure Lust, extra movement if I get Earthquaked off. 310, Confused Priorities, this is one of my new, more favourite cards. I've included it basically because then I can manipulate for things like potentially for Determined Defender or manipulating P off of objectives. So that's a handy one to have, I think. Jewel of Wits, I like to have. Great Concussion, one of the new cards. You may have noticed that I don't have Earthquake in this deck. Great Concussion, I think, is superior to Earthquake. It's harder to undo, but potentially you could undo some effect of an Earthquake. So that's why Great Concussion is in there and Earthquake isn't. I've had to make room for cards like Inspiration Strikes, which I think has got to be a must-have for the Fire Slayers. A free Inspire. Be looking to get that as early in the game as I possibly can. That would definitely ease the pressure on getting the objectives, especially if I can inspire Fjul and start him cutting people up. If I can get his movement upgrade on him, then he can actually pinch objectives in my opponent's half as well. So that's why Inspiration Strikes is in there. So I think that's a must-have for a lot of warbands, but certainly for Fire Slayers. Hidden Paths, again to help with that manipulating, getting behind the enemy lines. Hidden Paths is a way of nipping across to behind your enemy, which I think is quite a good card. 348, Ready for Action. 359, Shifting Shards. 360 Sidestep and 362 Spoils of Battle. So lots of things in there to help me move onto objectives. At least that's the intention. And then my upgrades, I've gone for Grimnir's Fortitude and Grimnir's Speed. I think the best of the 2 Grimnir cards, especially for playing objectives. A Destiny to Meet. A Destiny to Meet is 1 glory at the end of the game on a surviving fighter. I don't think people kill all of my Fire Slayers, so that's a good one to have in there, a little extra glory trap. 389, Great Fortitude, toughen up those dwarfs should they need it. 4-2-1 sprinter to aim to get extra objectives. I'm sort of a bit ambivalent about these movement cards. I always include one just in case I need it, but I rarely find I do. Maybe I should start thinking about swapping it out. And the rest of my deck is keys: the blazing key, the dazzling key, the formless key, the fracture key, the hallowed key, and the shadow key. So that's basically all 5 keys on each objective at the end of the game, and the formless key is 1 if you're on any objective. So I think that's worth doing. We'll have to wait and see. I'll be trying to obviously score most of my glory at the end of the game. The payoff for having all those in there's very, very few combat-based objectives. So what I'll be trying to do is inspire Fjul as early as possible and use him to try and stem the tide, chop some people back, and maybe while the other 3 are holding some objectives and moving on to some objectives that way. That's my plan. We'll see how it goes. I do feel a bit like I might be underpowered on the defensive side and definitely the offensive side, but we'll have to see how it goes. So that's my deck. Do let me know what you think of it, and feel free to comment below. And until next time, take care. Bye.